walk like lions. Hey folks, good morning. Chappie coming to you live from Prescott. Hey, yesterday we had kind of a little snafu there. Don't know what happened, folks. All I know is Facebook got notifications that Facebook was compromised or being compromised, and next thing you know, couldn't access my own profile. So I think we worked that out. We have a new profile now. It looks the same, but if you could get the word out if you're watching, and make sure if you knew people were watching this in the past, get the word out so that we can get them added back on the list and get them back plugged in with Walk Like Lions here. So good to see you here. It's Friday. It's a good day, folks, and we're going to continue right on. We're not going to let these little things get us down and stop us from giving out God's word and giving out some good quality devotionals or just bits of knowledge and information. Hopefully that's good. Of course, it's all the Lord here, folks. So let's go ahead and get started here. We got some actual air traffic overhead, which is kind of cool. Prescott's a big aviation center, so right across the street here from where I'm broadcasting is Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. So those are probably some students up there kind of flying and learning how to fly, so I better be careful. All right, folks, let's get going here. Folks, we started the week with Paul Revere and the ride, and I'm going to kind of finish it up with the shot heard round the world, Lexington Concord here. 19 April 1775. British troops have landed in Boston and are advancing up the coast, up into Massachusetts there. And this is the date of the shot heard around the world, folks. Kind of what started it all. We have the first combat engagement of the Patriots against the tyrannical British forces that were occupying our great nation here. And this started it all, folks, and we're going to see how this goes here. So you have about 700 British regulars marching towards Lexington and Concord. Two goals were at hand here. One was to arrest Sam Adams and John Hancock. The other was to confiscate, destroy the Patriots' weapons supply. And so they begin marching up, and this is where Paul Revere has just warned everybody, hey, the British are coming, and the Minutemen, the militia, the Patriots here are not going to put up with this anymore. It's gone far enough. They're not going to come take our weapons. They're not going to come take our freedom. And here's how it goes. All right, so as they're marching up to Lexington and Concord, they come to Lexington first. And this is where, as they come into the city, the village green, they're met with 80 Patriots out on the green, ready to do combat, ready to basically stop them in their tracks here from their evil intentions on what they're going to do. So what we got going on here is we got about 400 British regulars come onto the field as well, and a small skirmish ensues. And it does rout the militiamen, not rout in the sense that, hey, we're getting out of here, we're going home, we're giving up. They just basically displaced back, and the British, thinking that they had won, proceeded to march on to Concord here. And by this time, you got to understand, this 700, it's not just one little house in Lexington or Concord. They were breaking up their companies and moving out, looking for the weapons caches and stuff like that. So part of the British elements march off to Concord. They come into Concord, and by this time, the Minutemen are in full alert. And they're more and more are joining the forces here. They estimate there was probably about 1,500 Minutemen in the general area. And the Minutemen are kind of laying back a little bit, watching the British troops. And finally, they decide to engage them at the North Bridge. And this was the key engagement here. The thing is the British, typical tactics of the time, did the lining up and everything. They weren't expecting that the militiamen, having learned from this earlier engagement in Lexington, we're not going to play that game anymore. So basically, hiding behind rocks and trees, doing modern tactical warfare, they engaged the British and put a big hurting on them. So much that the British commander realizes, hey, I got to get back to Boston, and begins to withdraw all 1,500 of his forces back, the whole way back to Boston. They're attacked along the way. I think they came up with like close to 80, 90 soldiers dead. And I mean, we took a hit too, but pushed them out of the area, and thus began the American Revolution. And from there, folks, it's history. If you look at history, what happened from all this, that's why it's called the shot heard around the world, folks. That's what's critical here. The shot heard around the world, because it basically started our country, America. And as you can see all through history, we've been there in every situation along historical lines to stand for freedom, to stand for liberty, to stand for our way of life, folks, for this idea that man can be free. So it's incredible how this happens. And now today's day and age, you see how much we do for the rest of the world, how people look to us for comfort, for help, for safety, for just if you need to overthrow oppression, hey, America's there. That flag shows up, an aircraft carrier gets parked off a shore, you know things are going to be good for your people. So definite shot heard around the world, definite effect as it went. And on the spiritual side today, what I kind of really want to share with you is this idea of faith in action, because that's what it's about. We've studied and we've looked at how the early church spread out, and it just didn't fizzle out. It grew. It grew into the most prolific entity on the face of this earth. And the key with the church is basically taking the message of Christ to all nations. And, it's everywhere. And it cannot be stopped. That's the beautiful thing about it. So you have to understand, this faith in action is very important. We are called to do that as Christians, folks, is put our faith into action. Now you could sit there as a Christian and just sit at your house or just go to your church and do nothing, and you're not really effective. You're not living your faith. You're not putting it in action. And some may say, well, I don't want to go out and hit people on the head with Bibles and preach on street corners. That's not what it's about, folks. What it is about is people seeing your faith as you live it on a day-to-day basis, and then getting encouragement from it. Asking, hey, why is your life different than my life? How come you're successful? How come all these things are going well for you? I mean, I'm all depressed and bummed out, and I can't get out of that hole, but yet you seem to bounce back after everything. See what I'm saying, folks? Faith in action is living your faith on a day-to-day basis, and it has gigantic, enormous effects on the world around you. We are light. We're called to be light. We're called to be the salt of the earth. We're called to change the things around us, to bring Christ to them, and thus transformation takes place. Here's the thing. The verse I picked today is a simple one from James 1:22. It says, be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. A lot of people in their spiritual faith just listen. All right, I'm going to go hear a sermon. Oh, hey, I'm going to go watch this show. And they just listen and they do nothing with it. James is telling us to be doers of the word. That means do. Faith in action, folks. Folks, I encourage you today, make an effect on the world around you. Impact the world around you. We did a whole Walk Like Lions on impact the world. So I think this is just critical to understand that we can be like our forefathers were in the American Revolution, except instead of freedom, we're bringing Christ to people, which in a sense is freedom as well. So it all goes hand in hand, and that's the beauty of it, folks. So I encourage you today, don't just sit there on your faith. Put it into action, and you will see transformation in the lives around you and transformation in the world around you like you've never seen before, folks. Folks, that's all I got for you today. It's good to be back. I'm sorry we missed yesterday. Put the word out. I know a lot of people were watching before, but I had to recreate the friends list, and that's kind of taken some time here. So put the word out again. And we're going to get the links to our YouTube channel also up so that you'll be able to follow on YouTube as well. Folks, great seeing you today. Everybody waving and watching. Have a blessed day today. And don't forget, walk like lions.